Hello everyone, this is Shilpa Sharma, lecturer, Simit Group of Institutions, Patna. In this video, I am going to talk about the concept of power and authority. See, both these terms are often used interchangeably, and both these terms are the foundations for understanding the very concept of leadership in HR or OB, which is organizational behavior, or simply in general. Now, since leadership is one of those topics which is more researched and wrote after than any other subject in organizational behavior, and in the current scenario it has a lot of influence, an organization which has good leadership is definitely getting an edge over the other organizations which probably do not have that good a leadership. And for building the very concept of leadership, it is important to understand what is power, what is authority, are these two the same words, and what are the types of authority. Let's first talk about the difference between authority and power. See, authority means that it is a legal right which has been given to you to do few things like for making decisions, for delegating authority, for doing various things in which you need to pass commands to your subordinates. You have been given a legitimate legal right to do so. And this is the reason that higher the authority, if you are holding a higher post in authority, you will be given more power or more rights to make commands, to make decisions, to kind of pass commands to your subordinates, and to do various other things required for the organization and which are there in the role of that particular post that you are holding. But these stem out from the legal rights. These stem out from the authority that has been given to authority, stems out from the legal right that has been given to you. While when we discuss about power, we see that power is more of an individual trait. And this is the same reason that an old citizen or an old employee of an organization is more powerful than a new employee, despite having given any legal authority, any legal right to be so. Power is something that stems out of your character, that stems out of the abilities or the traits that you hold. And more of which you have, more of the expertise, more of the nuances of knowing your work you have, more powerful you will eventually become over the years in the organization. One major difference that we see between authority and power is that while authority is confined to the physical boundary of the organization, or even if you are doing an outbound work to that particular area, since power is a trait that is stemming out from your personality, you probably will continue to have power even if you are not confined with any physical boundary. So these two differences between power and authority, I guess, is enough to make you understand that though these terms are often used interchangeably, however, these are not exactly the same. Now, when we talk about authority, we have different kinds of authority. Power and authority are different. Now I'll talk about different kinds of authority. For example, there is traditional authority. There are places which give traditional authority. There are places, or there have been leaders who have been known to have charismatic authority. There are places contemporarily, which have legal rational authority. Traditional authority is the authority which is given to the leader because of certain custom, because of certain societal beliefs, the social structure, the setup that has been there for over a very long period of time. And traditional authority is not by virtue of some kind of expertise or some kind of rationality or some kind of skills. Rather, since it went unquestioned for such a long period that it ceases to be questioned even now. What could be the possible examples of traditional authority? See, the possible examples could be the tribal setup. Have you ever witnessed the political setup in a tribal area? That can be an example of traditional authority. The second, we see that there are countries, the Arabian countries, Kuwait, Morocco. These places, they give you a very good example of the traditional authority existing in their political structure. Now we come to the next type, which is charismatic authority. I'm sure you know most about this kind of authority because there have been some really great, wonderful and renowned leaders in the world which were given authority, which derived authority because of charisma or the charm that they had in their personality. For example, Benito Mussolini. For example, Adolf Hitler. For example, Nelson Mandela. These are all the examples of people who had great charisma in their personality, who had great charms, and this is the reason why they could drive the masses the way they wanted. However, one very noticeable thing about charismatic authority is that since it is the followers who see charisma in you, and that you do not hold the position of authority by virtue of some kind of expertise or some kind of rationality, or you've been given that or bestowed by some kind of law. Therefore, a leader, charismatic leader, often remains charismatic leader as long as the masses find charisma in him, and vice versa. If it ceases, he'll cease to be a great leader. But since we have seen some great leaders in this category in the past, and it still continues, we cannot deny that this kind of authority is really very important. The third and the final type of authority is rational legal authority. Rational means that you know the difference between right and wrong. And legal means the right and wrong has been established by law. So therefore, all the modern democratic governments that you see today are given authority by means of rational legal authority, which means that the power in their authority is derived from the established laws which has to be accepted by the masses. The modern democratic governments, the examples of army, the setup which is there in the army, it is not because of a certain person, it is not because of any kind of tradition, but just as you see it in army, that just because a person holds a certain position, therefore you have to be respectful towards the position and the authority, regardless of which person is sitting on which position. So the modern world is mostly, and the modern democratic forms of political government are mostly based on this kind of authority. So I hope the difference between these three kinds of authority, the traditional forms of authority, the charismatic authority, the rational legal authority, is clear to you. As I have told you earlier in the beginning of this video, I will reiterate in the end that a proper difference between power, authority, and types of authority is very important to be understood in order to understand the concepts of leadership properly in an organization. So, thank you for now.